How you doing, good people? This is the 8-Bit Animal. And I know we've given a lot of flack to THQ, and we've given a lot of flack to Imagineering. And both of them deserved it. Imagineering developed some terrible games on the NES, and THQ published a lot of terrible games on the NES. And honestly, in a lot of instances, they worked in concert to make that happen. And today is absolute prime example of that. This game is from 1992 and is based on the 1991 cartoon that was based on this DC character that, for my money, is one of the more imaginative characters to pop up in DC's gallery of heroes. Today, we're going to take a quick look at Swamp Thing. Now, Swamp Thing is essentially the story of Dr. Alec Holland, who has developed a formula that he wants to use to combat world hunger. It involves plant restoration, stuff like that, right? Well, this scientist, Anton Arcane, wants that formula for himself because he wants to use it to make himself immortal. Puts a bomb in Dr. Holland's lab. Dr. Holland's lab blows up. He's covered in the formula and catches fire. So he runs out of this burning building and falls into the swamp. And the fire is quelled, but he's burned, he's damp, he's injured, all that. And this formula is covering his body. It melds with the foliage in the swamp and turns him into something other than human. The titular Swamp Thing. Now, over the years, Swamp Thing has essentially become a god, a force of nature, if you will, in DC Comics. Sadly, though, he was in a cult classic but not so good movie in 1981. A sequel to said movie later in the 80s that was super campy. The cartoon from the 90s, another series that was on USA, and a really good series that got the plug pulled on it on what used to be DC Universe. Well, this game follows the cartoon, and so the character designs for Dr. Arcane and Dr. Holland and all that look like the cartoon characters, and that's cool enough. The gameplay is what we need to talk about right now, because turns out Imagineering used a lot of assets from a previous game of theirs, Bart vs. the Space Mutants. Bart vs. the Space Mutants is not a good video game. I don't care what a Simpsons fan tells you. The jumping in that game isn't precise enough to be used in a platformer, and neither is it here. They used a lot of the same sound effects in this game as they did in that one. there's a lot wrong here. You have imprecise controls combined with brutal difficulty. That ain't fun, baby. That ain't fun at all. And this is super depressing considering that this game is based in Louisiana. Nah, this ain't good at all, baby. This is terrible. But it's what we got. And sadly, this Swamp Thing game is it's easily one of the worst things on the NES. And I know I throw that phrase around a lot, but I am so serious here. It's remarkably bad. It's so bad it makes my head hurt. It just does. No. Why? Why did Imagineering do this to us? Why did THQ publish this thing? Why? Now, if you decide for some inexplicable reason you need to have a copy of Swamp Thing for the NES, average price is over $200. No, don't do it. Reconsider. Read some literature. Do anything other than throw $200 at such a terrible video game. I saw somebody say they had more fun playing Action 52, and honestly, at least you know what Action 52 is supposed to be. They lied to us with this. This is all bad, baby. Do not spend over $200 for a copy of this game. No. I won't even tell you to make the effort to try to play it. Maybe to get to just so you know what you're getting yourself into. But otherwise, no, there's no need. This thing is terrible. It is hideous. It's ugly. It sounds bad. It's whack. But this has been the 8-Bit Animal. I'll catch you beautiful people tomorrow. Tomorrow. I'll say one thing about Jaleco. When it comes to sports games, they were long on ambition, but they trusted Tosei for this one, who's short on ability.